What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 441 of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where we'll break down the current events, rumors, news, gossip, and everything else that went down in the past few days in the world of professional wrestling. I'm your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me, as always, is Robert D. Felice.
You know what does me great to hear, Tony? I just totally Joe Biden this fucking thing, but whatever. What warms my heart is that it's been a couple days since we last talked, and the world hasn't blown up yet.
It hasn't quite. I mean, you kind of blew up that sentence there, but
Yeah, it did.
but you know what? It's 10:30 at night, and we're not completely out of our
We're not
goods yet.
brain dead yet.
Yeah, it might be the end of the podcast. We might be, or something like that. But hopefully everybody else is doing okay as well. Leave us a comment below. Tell us how you're doing. Tell us your thoughts on all the things we're going to talk about here. Tell us anything else you want to talk about. Don't get a little too personal about some things. We don't know what you want to know what your fetishes is or something like that. But yeah, it's just keep the discussion going in the comments below. Obviously, as I say all the time, if you are on a platform that does not have comments like Spotify or iTunes or Stitcher or whatever it might be, including the Google Play, which apparently Google Play is no longer going to have the podcasts anymore. They've been sending out emails saying that they're merging that with their Google Podcast platform, which makes perfect sense. So it's kind of maybe going to be on YouTube Music. It might be just on Google Podcasts, but it's already on Google Podcasts. So I'm not sure how that works. But if you, by any chance, are listening to this on Google Play or Google Podcasts and you have any kind of weird things with your feed, let me know and I'll try to look into it a little bit. It should transition in some fashion. I'm not sure how. But
Can't we
those
just
things.
agree on a universal podcast platform? Like, just make Spotify the universal platform or something?
It really should just there should well, I mean there should always be alternatives just so that way it's not like a monopoly, but there really should only be like 10 at most.
Yeah, instead of like the 20 or 30 that there are.
I don't even know how many different platforms there are for just these podcasts that I do because I know that it pops up on on TuneIn and on Anchor because that's where it's all coming from. And I really if you're listening for like a really strange thing or something like that, tweet at me. Like let me know if you're on I don't even know if I'm on iHeartRadio, for instance. I might be. So yeah, if you're checking it out there, send me a tweet at SmarkMoment or at Tony Mango. And do the same if you just can't leave a comment, if you want to just tweet different things here and there. But the best that you can possibly do is to hop on over to either the pages on smartcommon.com with these kind of discussions or the channel itself on YouTube. The videos underneath them is some kind of oddly morphing around comment section. I've been seeing that people are complaining about that lately, that the comments on YouTube are kind of flipping around here and there.
Yep,
I
I've
haven't
seen
seen it.
that. It's fucking weird.
I don't really check too much. I don't watch YouTube stuff on my
They
phone.
pop up on like the top, like right after the video, and then it'll be the top comment, and then it'll be like the description. I've seen some weird stuff on YouTube.
That's
Glad
weird.
to know it's not just me.
Yeah, I've seen that popping up on Reddit discussions and stuff, but I don't click on my phone with YouTube, so I don't know how that's working out, but I do know that if that's at least still available, that's a great way to keep the discussion going. Hit that like button on the video too. Subscribe if you haven't done that already. Ring that little notification bell. Do all that same kind of stuff we normally talk about here, because not only are we talking, we want to know what you have to say.
How odd is it that one of the most commonly heard sentences is ring the notification bell?
It is kind of strange. And you go back maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever it might be, and think if you were to say hit that subscribe button with no context, that practically everybody that has a computer or anything, that isn't somebody who's super old and they only use it for emails. One of those people that are like, does this computer do email? Like that kind of thing. Most people are like, oh yeah, you're talking about YouTube. The subscribe button is just YouTube. And the
Yeah.
whole hey guys, smash that button, that kind of garbage.
Smash that like button.
Ugh.
It's just very weird that like these are sentences that little kids are gonna grow up thinking like this is what the world is. Oh, comment down below and blah blah. Like, well, what is that?
And then the lack of annotations. Now it's the iCards. So you might see
Right.
this in the top left corner or the top right corner, whatever it is. I don't know. It's kids these days with their music and their YouTubes. Um, let's get right into this here. Hot tag number one. We usually like to talk about things that were on the WWE Network recently, and we have the Undertaker special, The Last Ride, Chapter One, The Greatest Fear. I loved this. It wasn't as much as the WWE 24 on Edge, but I'm really digging this series so far, and I'm really glad that it's just a multi-part series instead of just like a one-shot, 1 hour deal, because they were able to dive into some really decent stuff here, and it's just episode one. I don't know how many episodes it is, but I think it's like 10.
5.
Ah, damn! I was hoping that it would be 10. Even if it's just five, though, I mean, 5 hours worth of this, or 5.5 hours, or whatever that it comes out to. This was good because this was dealing with Undertaker talking about whether or not he wanted to lose the streak, how beaten up his body is, how bad it's gotten to the point where, like, I mean, they're showing footage of him getting like injections in his knee just so he could kind of move it for his matches.
Dude, I've forgotten, I guess, out of sight, out of mind, but watching the WrestleMania 33 footage with Roman, he looked awful. Oh my, like he looked just in terrible shape
Right.
to the point where, Ric Flair overstayed his welcome. He should have retired with the Shawn Michaels thing. I can sympathize with the Undertaker not wanting to go out with the Roman match.
The
It was
Roman match was
awful.
pretty damn bad. And I mean, I don't want to see Undertaker ever go out, but at the same time, when you watch stuff like this, you're like, oh, he should have gone out with the end of an era, maybe, you
Mm,
know?
yeah. I mean, it's arguable because, then he comes back and he has the thing with Bray Wyatt and he looks like $1 million as far as somebody his age at that time can look, and then you think, oh, this guy can still do it. But that Roman match and the footage of him walking around beforehand,
Hmm.
ooh,
Like him walking
painful
down
to
the
watch.
stage.
Yeah.
He's going down the ramp, and you're like, oh man, he practically needs like help doing that, and that's not good. That's not something that you should be beating your body up more for. So it sucks to see like the Undertaker in that kind of shape and stuff, but it's a hell of a great show to watch. Not like it's like, oh, this is so great. I hope he's like more like that. Obviously, I hope he's better, but it's compelling.
I just checked and the embargo broke 9 a.m. this morning, so I can say I already saw episode 2. Episode 2 is very good.
Yeah.
And I would implore all of you to watch not only episode 1, but episode 2 and episode 3 is going to cover Crown Jewel with Michaels
Oof.
and Hunter. Ooh, I can't wait for that. That's
What's
going to be
what's episode 2 revolving around?
him saying, I need to do another match. I need to have redemption and the build up to the John Cena match and how, good he feels after having the surgery, after having,
The hip
it's
surgery?
getting, yeah,
Okay.
he gets the hip surgery. So you see a lot of that. You see Vince get emotional. You see, they ask Vince, "What does Undertaker mean to you and to WWE?" And he just looks at them and he goes, "Yeah, uh, yeah, I can't do that. Cut it, cut it, cut. I can't." I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you know." It's nice to see that Vince McMahon
That's a heart.
is has a heart, and even the Undertaker talks about, I had a time in my life where I was really down and out, and I was going through problems, and I was letting them overtake me, and Vince McMahon sat me down and said, "You need to stop fucking feeling sorry for yourself." And anybody else, I would have gotten up out of my seat and knocked him out, but coming from Vince, and he means it, like he helped me feel better about myself. So like I love this documentary. This and the Edge documentary are things that keep me hopeful that the network is just hitting a stride instead of reaching its end, and I want more of it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the rest of these, and obviously, over the course of the next bunch of weeks when we do these, hot tags, we're gonna talk more and more about them, but I don't want to obviously break down every little bit of information and write down lists of great moments and whatever because I think that these are definitely on the see it or skip it scale. It's 100% see it. So we don't want
Yeah,
to really like,
more than anything. And I think learning about Taker and how like the process of doing this is hard for him, opening up and not being that character and talking about, hey, I had confidence issues. Like I didn't want to do it anymore after I WrestleMania 30, but I wasn't gonna go out in a match that I was knocked out for.
right.
Oh, it's just great. I watch it, watch all of it.
Definitely watch it, everybody. And when you do watch it, tell us what you thought. So let's move on to let's move on to this one. Why not? Let's just get this one out of the way. Alberto Del Rio
Okay, he's a
was
bad guy.
yeah. We've talked a lot about Alberto Del Rio. There was a time frame where practically it seemed like hot tags were revolving around Del Rio for like a good like 2 months. Like every
Is it
week there was a
the
new thing.
Page thing?
Yeah, all the page stuff and whatever. And I've made it abundantly clear I've never really liked Alberto Del Rio. I've always thought that he was overrated as a performer. I've always thought that there was just something a little like off about him. And more and more and more, it seems to just keep proving that stuff right. Because Del Rio was recently arrested, and I keep seeing new updates to the story, and every update makes it so much worse.
What's the
You
last
know,
update you saw?
so I originally had seen Alberto Del Rio arrested, and then it seemed he was arrested for getting into a fight. And I was like, oh, it was like some kind of like bar thing or something like that. And then it's like, oh, okay, he got arrested for getting into a fight with the girl that he's with. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's worse. And then it was like, yeah, it's full on domestic abuse situation. And then it's that he threatened to take her kid and put it out in the street or
And
something.
so that's how I found this. Uh, it was put out by the San Antonio News, their NBC affiliate, and Sean, my boss, Sean Rossap, sent it to me, and he's like, "Oh boy!" And I said, "I'll take it." And I came up with the headline: Alberto Del Rio arrested for allegedly was it sexually abusing women, and then Sean added the threatens to drop kid in the middle of the road, and then you just start to go, okay. By the time we're watching Money in the Bank, it then becomes tied her down and used various objects within the house to sexually assault her. And then it becomes I had this real moment where I'm like, if this motherfucker doesn't get the full on Benoit treatment, then you're doing it wrong. Like he needs to be wiped from
Yeah.
footage. He needs to be wiped from Money in the Bank footage, Royal Rumble footage, WrestleMania. I don't care. He's a terrible person, it seems. And really, I'm just glad that Paige is alive today. When you think about all that,
Yeah, and I mean, if they probably would have stayed together, it probably would have gotten much, much worse. And I mean, obviously, nobody knows what everything happens behind the scenes, but where there's
like
smoke, there's fire, and good
there's a
people
lot
don't
of
find
smoke.
themselves in these kind of situations. It's you don't just see like the person who's on the side of the road selling peaches, and it's just kind of like, well, they went to jail for murdering 1,000 people or something like that. Like Del Rio is in a situation that he's in
I
because
never
of who
want
he
to see
is.
him in a ring again.
No,
Period. I
I
never want to see him wrestle again. I never want to see him do anything.
out in public, he should be in prison. Like
I
that's how to boil it down. That's I would say it boils down to that. Like go to jail.
here's the thing, throw him in jail.
Yeah, it's just awful. So yeah, I don't want to hear any kind of things in the future about like, oh, Del Rio should come back and he should whatever and they should put the belt on it. No, no,
If
just
they
no.
if any promotion, even AAA, which I know can be sketchy because it's a Mexican promotion and they're known for being sketchy, but like even AAA better not fucking take this guy back. Even I don't care. I don't give a shit if it's Hobo Championship Wrestling. Don't fucking book this guy. Do not do it.
Yeah, HCW.
Yeah.
Hobo Championship Wrestling.
You got a reputation to live up to. Hobo Joe wouldn't do that.
Now I gotta think of like what characters would be at Hobo Championship Wrestling. Would the Drifter Elias be their champion?
He might, Boxcar Barry, you know?
It's like, oh, he hit him with the bum rush. That's a good enough transition. If you want a bum rush T-shirt or something like that, some kind of a design option, maybe I'll make something like that. I don't know. Merchandise shops, TeePublic and Redbubble. They gave the options now of masks, so I'm gonna work on that a little bit here and there. Right now, all the designs that are up on the Smart Moment and Fanboys Anonymous and a Mango Tees shops on TeePublic at the very least. I'm not sure about Redbubble. All of the designs have mask options. So if you want to get a however bell over your mouth,
Ding.
or you want to get something that says like the Durward Kirby burger from Pulp Fiction as the
Ding.
Burger King logo. There's a Tiger King version of that too that I made. Still haven't seen the Tiger King documentary, but whatever. Or you want to get like a get away from me is one of them. just just get away from me, or
That's very timely.
yeah, there's options. So yeah, if you're interested in those masks or T-shirts or stickers or anything like that, pick up some on the merch shops. And obviously, if you are interested in helping us out on the monetary side of things outside of that, if you're not aware, there's a Patreon for both Fanboys
There is.
Anonymous and Smart Moment. And even $1 goes a long way, especially the more people that do it. Because I've mentioned before, if every single person who subscribed to the Smart Moment YouTube channel alone donated $1 a month, then I would only do Smart Moment stuff and Fanboys Anonymous stuff. So if you want more and you've got the spare change, obviously, then it's greatly appreciated. Whatever you toss our way, $10 and up gives you access to the special Patreon exclusive episodes that are dark casts on Smart Moment and bonus features on Fanboys Anonymous. And then you can go up higher and higher. There's the mailbag priority. There's also the pick your poison tier where you can request whatever it is that you would like us to do. And then we will, as long as it's within reason, go ahead and do it. If you want to have like, I want you guys to do a fan outs table of all 33, or not 33, all 36 WrestleManias in a row. Yeah, we can't do that. But,
But if you donate a significant amount,
I mean, yeah, I'm
there's
not
that
going to.
$1,000 tier, which basically makes you a producer.
There
Eh,
is, so I mean, there's that kind of option, but I
There's
don't think
options.
look, everything's potentially on the table. So take advantage of that if you can, or if you're interested in all that, and whatever it is, whether it's an article or it's a podcast, if you really want us to do it, and you've got the ability to take advantage of the pick your poison tier, once you do that, then we'll do it. So keep that in mind for the future. Let's go back and talk about these hot tags. Let's talk about something that's hot in the sense of backstage heat. It's Leo Rush and Mark Henry. Leo Rush has been tweeting out now that he has been released from WWE. He has been trying to sell some of his old ring gear, and he showed off this moth mask because man of the hour, the moth, that kind of thing.
Oh,
He
yeah.
wanted that to be a thing, and he's been saying that he had some disagreements with Triple H, like they didn't really quite see themselves eye to eye about his character and his future. But he doesn't seem to be super upset about that compared to Mark Henry. Henry,
He was very bothered by Mark Henry.
yeah, completely different story. That is the quick and short of the whole thing. Leo Rush and Mark Henry had had words before. Mark Henry seems to me, at the very least, of course, I don't know, I wasn't there. It seems like Leo Rush rubbed some people the wrong way. Mark Henry reached out and said, "Hey, I'm hearing some things. What's going on?" Maybe imparted some wisdom as far as like, if you keep acting like this, your push isn't going to happen. That Jim Ross is probably all pissed now. That is push. But maybe kind of gave him some veteran pointers or something like that. And if that's true, he could have also said that in ways that are coming off a little bit offensive. He could have said it in completely normal, parental type ways. But in some fashion, it rubbed Leo Rush the wrong way again, and the two of them haven't seen eye to eye since then. And now Leo Rush is talking again about the idea that Mark Henry should keep his name out of his mouth, and that he's taking shots at a 25-year-old that just lost his job, and that he's holding down different African American wrestlers and different things. I'm getting a feeling, maybe it's not true, but I'm getting a feeling that Leo Rush is maybe in the wrong here. Like maybe Mark Henry tried to say like, "Hey, you're kind of causing some backstage issues," and Rush maybe has like a little bit of an ego that got in the way. But maybe Mark Henry approached him weird.
I think this could be a generational thing.
Maybe.
You know, there's the added issue of Rush has gone on record as having struggles with mental health, and I'm hoping that him lashing out today, if this was today, the tweets were today, right?
Today, yesterday, something like that. This
Yeah,
week,
well,
at the very least.
I'm hoping that he's not just like lashing out because he's going through a rough time. You know?
It is kind of odd that he's selling all the ring gear and saying he's never going to wrestle again, and he's seemingly burning some bridges.
Yeah, I hope he does wrestle again. I feel like I've been honest that I think he could very easily make some money in AEW. He has the style and the ability and the attitude to get over. Like, say what the fuck you want about that attitude. I'm sorry, we love Shawn Michaels, Tony.
Right.
He wasn't a good guy. You know?
And sometimes, like, an attitude isn't really necessarily an attitude all the time. Sometimes somebody's confidence can rub somebody the wrong way and they can misinterpret it as arrogance. Sometimes that confidence gets in the way of other people, so they take personal offense to it. Sometimes being confident and being talented just upsets other people because they're jealous. Like, there's plenty of other ways that could make it be more positive in Leo Rush's sense. It's not like this is some cut and dry, like, well, obviously Leo Rush is blah, 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 or, like, we don't know, so we're just kind of conjectures, like, all over the place. But, again, if there's smoke, there's fire. And this isn't the first story about Leo Rush potentially having backstage problems, which kind of makes me think, oh, this is probably a lot going on with the Sami Zayn stuff, But
well, the Zayn thing. See, I feel like they're on two different levels because I feel like if Zayn is causing people grief, it's because he's a very outspoken, leans a specific way kind of individual as a person. And with Leo Rush, I just think he might be his head might be a little too big for what WWE wants. I don't get that vibe from Sami Zayn.
who knows? But it doesn't seem like Leo Rush and Mark Henry are going to be best buds anytime soon.
You never know.
But let's talk about the, how we'll bounce around a little bit more to this. I was going to say let's transition from the Sami Zayn thing to the Intercontinental title tournament. We'll talk about that when we talk about our reviews of the episodes this week. Before talking about that and going into all the other kinds of different things that we've seen from Raw and SmackDown and stuff like that, let's talk about the idea that we previously did on our main event for this week, going over, and this was about just sort of the oddball stuff that had been happening. The Becky Lynch situation, the Sami Zayn Intercontinental title vacation, not vacation, like he's on vacation.
What?
He vacating the title, not like it's all he ever wanted or something like that. No, I guess demonetized. And the NXT announcement. So we're gonna kind of go back and talk about those three things because it's one per show, funny enough. So let's go and talk about Raw first. When it comes to Raw, we had the Becky Lynch thing. Again, listen back to the going over if you want to hear more of our opinions about Becky Lynch announcing that she's pregnant, dropping the title to Asuka, that kind of thing. I don't think there's really any other updates since then that we need to talk about other than Jim Cornette basically being like, "What the hell? Why'd you do this? You get to have a baby anytime." Like,
did he do that?
oh yeah, he went on a whole rant about that, saying like,
wow.
saying, she could go through all the stuff that happens with pregnancy after she's making $1 million a year, like that kind of thing.
Well, carry on.
Other than that, though, I don't think there's any other real updates. But we had some other things that happened on Raw. We had Bobby
Okay,
Lashley
let me
beat.
get your take on this real quick. Rollins said December can't get here soon enough. Now, I am a simpleton. I was taught 9 months pregnant, right?
Right.
That puts her pregnant in March, which means she might have worked Mania for sure with being pregnant.
Right.
History was made here, Tony. Why? Like, for the first time ever, a woman defended the Raw Women's Championship whilst carrying a baby.
Which would be the second time that a pregnant woman was champion. Because remember, Maria Kanellis, 24/7 champion.
That's right.
So look at that. Twice in WWE history, somebody who was pregnant at the time was a champion. Funny enough. A record that's not going to be broken by Sheamus or Edge, right? The other guys.
That we know.
I don't know. It's 2020. Anything can happen. Um, Bobby Lashley beat Humberto Carrillo by submission in a no DQ match. I don't even know why it was really no DQ, but this led to a thing with MVP talking to Lashley backstage about how last time that he was fighting for the title was 2007, and after all these years, he's still in that same position. So if Lana, who is like a cage holding him back, can get out of the way and MVP can kind of step in, then that would be good. And Lana did this horrible overreacting.
Oh my god, yeah.
Terrible, terrible acting. Really makes me want her off screen entirely. Later on in the night, they had a match. MVP, Brendan Vink, and Shane Thorne were beaten by Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, and R-Truth. And Lashley came out, speared R-Truth, took him out, laid him out, whatever, and told MVP that they need to talk. So it seems like MVP and Bobby Lashley are in business together, which is thumbs up.
I am. That is the way to go. That is totally the way to do this. I was a big fan of them during their brief run in TNA, but I love this. It's a good pairing. It shocked the crap out of me that Lashley hasn't had a WWE Championship match since 07. I know the exact match it was too. It was the one with Cena at the Great American Bash. You know, why hasn't this guy fought Brock Lesnar?
Lord knows. But it seems like he's going to be groomed to fight Drew McIntyre at Backlash.
It's not a backlash. Well, maybe because I would argue this brand to brand invitational thing might lead to something else for Drew, but Corbin lost a match that he maybe shouldn't have lost tonight, which I guess we'll get to later.
Might be King Corbin at Backlash, and then maybe it's Bobby Lashley at Extreme Rules. But they do seem to be heading in that direction, so that's cool.
Thumbs up.
Zelina Vega's stable is going to break up, it seems.
Thumbs down.
Yeah, I don't really know where they're going with that. It seems kind of like Garza and Andrade are on board, and that Austin Theory is the odd man out, but it seems mostly between Garza and Theory.
Yeah.
They did a whole thing where like Garza beat Akira Tozawa by pinfall, and then everybody started arguing again. Drew McIntyre came out, did a Claymore on Austin Theory, and Garza and Andrade laughed at him. And then Garza got Claymored. So that's a thing, I guess. I don't know if that's going to be like trying to turn Theory babyface or just get him out of the stable because he's kind of an oddball in the stable too. I don't really know if this is heading in the right direction, but there's a chance it works.
I don't like it. You just fucking put them together. Like, what is the issue here? Why are you having the we gotta change everything now? Why? Let them be together. Let them gain some heat. Put the belts on Theory and Garza. You know, put some heat on them, and then break them up. And like a year from now, this will be a stable that fans literally never see in a ring because there's no fans for the entire run of the stable.
Just popped in my mind. When a stable breaks up, why don't we ever refer to them as unstable?
You're fired.
If you want more of these classic things, donate to the Patreon. Drew
uh,
McIntyre beat Andrade after that, and then that's when they announced that brand-to-brand invitational thing where Drew McIntyre is going to fight King Corbin next week.
I hate this, and we touched on this on Wednesday's Going Over podcast. I fucking hate this. This is like a diet wild card rule. This is stupid. They clarified more of this tonight, and I've never been more confused in my life. Do you hear this?
What was the clarification?
This allows 4 times a year for superstars to go over between shows.
What? Four
I was
times a
like,
year?
okay, so does that mean every superstar gets 4 chances a year? Does that mean you're
Four
gonna,
twice, 4 times period? Like they already ran up 2 of them then?
yeah, like what are we doing here?
That's so stupid. Well, I mean, look at the wild card rule. They said the wild card rule is like 2 or 3 people or whatever. Oh,
It's
it's
three
4, it's
people.
5.
It's 3 people. Lars Sullivan shows up. Okay, it's 4 people.
So stupid.
Like I got into a legit like heated discussion with Kevin Kellum on the WrestleZone podcast because he's like, I said, why not just end the brand split? What do you mean? It's fresh matches. It's like, no, it's not. Like, who's clamoring for King Corbin on Raw? If you're saying, okay, now we've got Roman on SmackDown, we got Roman on Raw and SmackDown, that's one thing. Like they're doing AJ on SmackDown. I think that's a good move. SmackDown needs star power. We don't need a diet wildcard rule. If you're gonna do that, just merge the brands again, and please merge the belts so Bayley can stop being a champion
Yeah,
who
that's the
uses
case.
divisions.
God knows what they're doing with that whole thing too. But
I will say I thought they were a highlight tonight, which we'll get to later. But the SmackDown division itself, it's just Bayley and Sasha.
we couldn't disagree more about that being a highlight. But at least we have the Iconics back.
I pop big for this, just to hear their music. Like about time.
There were a lot of rumors that they were going to be repackaged, and that didn't pan out in the slightest bit. They were exactly the same as they were before.
Yeah.
So either the rumors were completely false, or they decided to just kind of put that on the ice. But they beat Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross after they had interrupted a moment of bliss, and next week they're going to get a tag title shot. So I'm going to have to prep that ahead of time that maybe we get new tag champs.
I'm gonna say yes.
Wouldn't be shocking if we did. Although
Good for
I'm kind of surprised that they didn't just do an impromptu title match and have the title change hands as it was.
Now you gotta earn things, Tony.
To be fair, though, they did just switch the whole thing with the Raw Women's title, so maybe that's why.
Maybe.
But I don't know. They could have gotten away with them interrupting a moment of bliss and then just announcing a tag title match.
They could have gotten
So-
away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
Yeah, those kids with their YouTubes. Rey Mysterio, he explained why he is not dead. He got thrown off a roof and landed on another roof that was 6 feet underneath.
They give a credit given for bothering to explain.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. They could have just been like, well, I don't know, gravity. Like they could have gone in that direction. Or it's WWE, damn it, they're superheroes. They can survive. Like, Jinder Mahal might be a babyface. He's talking about how he wants to have a hero's journey back to the top. A lot of people are talking about him. He's a babyface now. I don't know if I believe it.
Hell no. No.
No, just
when
for
did you
Jinder
say
Mahal
that?
or no for the babyface.
Both. Why are we doing this with Jinder? I like Jinder, but like he had his thing and it passed and it was great. We all loved it, but why? I don't want it again.
We all loved it.
We loved it for a month. It was
We
nice.
loved the idea that they did the shocking thing of just, oh shit,
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal won.
Yeah, so like it was nice for a month, but now it's time to get back to reality.
I obviously hope that they do Jinder against Drew McIntyre, so I don't want any kind of heel, any kind of babyface turn for him. I want him to stay heel. And
Well, why not just like a 3MB without Heath, like a babyface 3MB, but
yeah.
in the main event scene?
Well, they gotta hire Heath back from one match at the very least,
Yeah.
just for that. Shayna Baszler talked some trash about Becky Lynch's kid, and I thought that was great.
She she just like, all right, if we're gonna have Asuka turn babyface and like break character, I'll be the heel and say, how stupid can you be to get knocked up while you're champion?
Jim Cornette's like, yeah, exactly. Later on, that led to a match with Natalia. Baszler beat Natalia. Natalia
Apparently, the
started,
Heart Dynasty dies with her.
yeah, because she's never gonna have a kid, that kind of thing.
Tune in
Natalia did
next
the
week.
whole flipping out, like acting like a little petulant child.
Tune in next week when TJ and Natty have a live sex celebration so that he does impregnate her. Like I don't know where they're going with this. I don't even think there's anything to the temper tantrum.
Imagine having a thing on Monday Night Raw. The graphic pops up and it's like like coming on next on Monday Night Raw, and it's artificial insemination or something. And then you hear "Never gonna break me." It's like, uh. Then we had Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black beat Seth Rollins and Murphy by DQ, because apparently now it's a disqualification if somebody is not the legal man and they do anything, I guess.
They do that a lot when they need to just end the match.
That's so stupid. Whoever
I
was the
heard
producer
crazy
of that
rumors that
match.
it was like, oh, they ended it because they broke an unwritten rule of Vince McMahon's. It's like, no, they do this shit all the time. It's lazy.
They could have just had him like
Hit him with a
Rollins.
chair.
Yeah, Rollins and Murphy keep punching Ray, and the referee counts to 5.
You were
Like,
gonna fuck up his eye anyway. You could have just started there.
right. It's so dumb. And now it seems like the reason why they did the eye thing is to potentially write Ray off if he does not sign his new contract.
Nah, that's bullshit.
I assume he's going to resign.
That's just like it's one of those. Hey, Meltzer's put it in the Observer, so we all have to talk about it. But it, it's not happening. Ray wants to retire in WWE. He wants to do matches with Dominic.
Right.
He's not going anywhere.
Street Profits beat the Viking Raiders in basketball 74-2.
So
Although later on they showed that Eric and Ivar just let them win.
so what are we doing next week? Axe tossing,
Yeah, that would make sense for the Viking stuff.
right?
Or drinking mead, or
So, Tony, you don't drink mead. Mead is like turkey legs or some shit. What the fuck?
yeah, mead. Meade.
You don't drink it.
Isn't mead like the beer?
No, it's like the turkey leg.
I'm gonna Google this real quick. Let's see.
Oh, wait, am I wrong?
Define mead. Mead it doesn't have an e, I guess, or maybe it does, depending on some things.
Mead is an alcoholic beverage. Okay, but it's without any.
Okay, mead without an e. Oh, unless Civil War they spelled it with an e.
All
Maybe
right,
I'm thinking
I
about
was wrong. I thought mead was the. So what's that called then? The big hunk.
the turkey leg thing. Just a big ass turkey leg, I guess. I don't know.
There's no weird like Renaissance fair term for this.
Big honkin' chunko turkey. I don't know. There's probably some kind of thing. It's just like, I don't know. I've never been to a Renaissance fair.
Really, I feel like that'd be oddly up your alley.
Not in the slightest bit. No interest in that. A Knight's
All
Tale had
right.
some funny parts. That counts. I'd like to see the whole anything you could do, I could do better type thing back and forth for a little bit. I'm fine with that. And then they could do the tag title match at Backlash. Like, they got a couple weeks. Let's do some more stuff. Let's do the axe throwing, like you said. Let's have a mead drinking contest. Maybe a turkey leg drinking contest. If you can figure out a way to do that. That's something
Well,
different.
yeah, I'm okay with different. Just don't run it into the ground, which they will.
And then we had the cap off of Monday Night Raw was that Edge came out, said he was ready to move on from Randy Orton, who came out and congratulated him, saying that the better man won at WrestleMania, but the better wrestler didn't. And that Edge knows that based off of his previous 2 matches, which were the Royal Rumble and Last Man Standing match, that he can't win a wrestling match. So he challenged him to a straight up wrestling match, which Charlie Caruso then said it might be the best wrestling match of all time. The
Yes.
most hyperbolic, beat you over the head nonsense for this kind of stuff. And I just think that that's so dumb. That was completely unnecessary.
You know what was better? The commercial for Raw tonight was like, Edge will be on Raw. And will he accept Randy Orton's epic challenge for a wrestling match? Like, they're really doing this. They're really like, oh, they're gonna wrestle, and it's gonna be so fucking intense. Like, don't get me wrong. You won't find a bigger supporter of Edge and Randy Orton than me. I don't care if it's their 2005 selves, their 2010 selves, or their 2020 selves. But really,
It's
the best
so just
wrestler. Ah,
it's like, you guys watch wrestling matches? How about these two in a wrestling match? Ah, woo!
I I like the fact that Edge is gonna be on 2 Raws in a row.
Yeah, and maybe the match is good. I don't know. We'll talk more about it obviously when we start doing our predictions for Backlash, which is not for a couple weeks at the very least, because that's June 14th, I think. Yeah,
Hey, what's on June 7th, Tony?
we will talk about that in a second. Because we got NXT, which is Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner. Still, I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. They don't seem to go one way or another. It's not as bad as Cesar Bononi, but I've heard Fabian Eichner, Fabian Eichner, Fabian Eichner, Fabian Eichner. Screw it,
Well,
he's
what do you
Fabian
like?
Eichner to me.
Well, what do you like, Tony? What makes you
Fabian.
there you go.
But if it's Fabian, or if you pull a Pulp Fiction, my name is Fabian.
It's
uh,
Fabian Eichner.
Eichner or something. Uh, they beat Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher to win the NXT Tag Team titles because there was a moment in there where Matt Riddle flipped Bartel onto Thatcher, and Thatcher said, "You know what? Screw this. I'm leaving. Screw you guys. I'm going home." Pulled a Cartman, and that led to a couple other segments throughout the night where Thatcher uh, was talking backstage about the idea that all Riddle needs to do is just knock him out. He'll tap him out, whatever. And he called him a hot mess. They fought backstage. Riddle talked to William Regal, got a match. Timothy Thatcher attacked Matt Riddle again. Then they ended up having the main event. Matt Riddle beats Timothy Thatcher, but Thatcher starts putting him in a submission afterward, and that's how NXT went off the air. We'll obviously talk about the rest of NXT, but um, Timothy Thatcher's heel, and we got new tag champs, and we got a new feud.
Good shit.
Yeah, all for it. Especially because it's like, wasn't Thatcher a part of Imperium?
He was a part of I know
Like
he was
the
a part of Catch.
precursor?
He's a part of Catchpoint. Oh no, and he was part of Ring Comp. He's a part of both. Okay, he's just like he's one of those guys he can float around.
So, I mean, if he was part of Catchpoint, and Riddle was part of that, right?
Yeah, that's how they did the team.
Okay, so they had that little thing. Now he can go and be a part of Imperium.
If
Maybe.
they need him to be. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for Thatcher replacing Wolf, but
Yeah, it's a
we
possibility. Especially since now it's like Walter's not going to be around for a little bit. Where is Wolf? Does he not live in Florida? I would have thought they would have.
he probably did, and then when they moved him to NXT UK, he didn't.
Maybe, yeah. They haven't been showing him, so that's kind of strange. But Thatcher being a part of that would work, and Thatcher feuding with Matt Riddle, even if he's not a part of that, just works because cool. Thumbs
Yeah,
up.
I like it. I'll run through this quick. I don't very much care for replacing Walter with Damian Priest as far as the Finn Balor feud.
Yeah, Priest attacked Finn Balor. Balor was able to, or not able to. He lost to Cameron Grimes because of the Damian Priest attack, and Priest revealed that he was the one that attacked Balor a couple weeks ago. So he's full on replacement, and that's just got to be a thing. I like Damian Priest, but it is a little sidestepping. You know, I guess they felt like they needed to because the Walter thing doesn't have enough legs to go on that much longer. But
Yeah,
whatever. I think the match will be good.
it might be. I like Priest, but I'm still iffy about him.
I'm not 100% sold, but I'm like about 80%. I don't think he's going to be like the next big thing, but I like him.
Yeah.
Tegan Knox beat Indy Hartwell. Nothing much there. Jake
Tegan Knox.
Atlas, yeah, thumbs up. Jake Atlas beat Tony Nese, and Gentleman Jack Gallagher beat Isaiah Swerve Scott in the interim NXT Championship, Cruiserweight Championship, I should say, tournament. The reason why Swerve Scott lost was in part because he had said earlier, if I lost every match on this tournament and, I couldn't win a single match, then I would just quit wrestling altogether. So Tony Nese, who lost all of his matches, took offense to that and attacked him ahead of time. Uh, by the way, on 205 Live, Gentleman Jack Gallagher beat Tony Nese and said that their feud's not over.
Cool.
Let's see what else we got on here. Kaden Carter beat Aaliyah by submission, and it seems like Aaliyah is no longer in the hunt to be a part of the Robert Stone brand because of that.
Huh.
And we got Dinner with the Garganos. They're going to feud with Keith Lee and Mia Yim going forward.
I'm good with it.
Me too. I'm assuming Keith Lee and Johnny Gargano is going to be a match at the next pay-per-view, which is the big part of this.
What is it?
Triple H and Shawn Michaels and Road Dogg announced that it is yesterday was the 14th, was the 25th anniversary of In Your House, and the next NXT TakeOver event on June 7th is going to be NXT TakeOver In Your House.
Amazing.
So that goes to show you that when they did this whole thing with this lawsuit, not that long ago, the copyright dispute. Remember there was the
They
In
were
Your
gonna do
Warehouse.
I think it was in our warehouse from freelance.
Yeah. So they said, cease and desist. That's infringing on something that we have as part of our like branding and all that. And at the time, it seemed like they were just being like, pushing around somebody being a little bit of a bully, but maybe they did have this planned. And maybe that was something that they didn't just kind of. It's one way or the other. Either they had this planned and it was like, hey, you can't do that. We're going to do it in your house. Or somebody came across that. They did this legal thing. And then they said, hey, you know what? We should do it in your house just to prove that we are doing this. And it's the 25th anniversary. So let's do that. But
You know
hell,
what though? I don't care because we're gonna have a
right.
freaking in your house. How good is that?
How perfect is it to do that during a quarantine?
Fucking amazing. So good.
I had said before, in your house was a term that they should use for the house shows that they put on the WWE network. Obviously, that's no longer a thing, at least for right now. But NXT TakeOver in your house, that is super cool. It's just a name, It's not going to change anything else. It's not like this is going to be a different type of gimmick match, or it's going to be fighting for a title or anything like that. It's just a name, but at the same time, I didn't like NXT TakeOver Respect. I didn't like NXT TakeOver Fatal 4 or whatever like that. Like that kind of stuff's a little bland. But if you're not going to do NXT TakeOver Boston or whatever the case may be, in your house, yeah, that's awesome. It's cool. It's referencing something from back in the day, referencing my childhood, making it something that's a kind of a little bit of a quarantine joke, taking over your house. Like it's just neat. I like it.
It's just good.
The
It's like
logo's the same too.
the logo is the same, and I just get a kick out of this. Like I had mentioned, you know, I grew up on the In Your House stuff. That's how I started watching, and there's just so much nostalgia here for me. I I hope they do more of these. And honestly, we need to watch it in your house. I know we're mulling around this in the Megamaniacs group, but like, even if it's a dark cast, you and I need to sit down and watch like one of the hour and a half in your house pay per views.
Well, that is something that I have as a potential option for not this next week, but the week after that, because next week we're going to do our double or nothing predictions. But the week after that, as I mentioned before, is a blank week right now. And we've been talking about some ideas, and we might do some things in particular that, it's one thing or the other thing or the other thing or whatever. One of them was the potential of doing a tier list where the three of us really like sit down and rank everybody on the WWE roster. But now that this NXT TakeOver In Your House thing popped up, I am very much in the not in the what am I? Where am I going with this?
In the camp. You're in the
In the
camp.
camp of. I'm like I totally had a brain
You're
fart there. I like the idea of watching the first ever In Your House for the 25th anniversary. It's not going to be on the 25th because it already passed, but it's 2 weeks afterward. Okay, like
What is your favorite when I say in your house, what is, like, the one in your house match or moment or anything that you think of when I say in your house?
I went to Mind Games,
Mind
so
games is good.
I imagine me sitting in the arena at Mind Games eating cheese fries.
Oh, man.
And later on that night, I got the Gold Dust action figure. I got the T-shirt, that kind of thing. That was my first WWE show that I ever went to. Was In Your House Mind Games.
That's that's a good one because you saw one of the better matches of that year. When I think in your house, I think Todd Pettengill, first and foremost,
Yeah.
who needs to be a part of this kickoff show in some way.
Can they get sponsored by karate fighters or something?
They need to do a Zoom call between Todd Pettengill and Michael Hayes, who can be called Doc Hendricks for
Doc
30
Hendricks for
minutes.
sure. What's his face? Sean Mooney, maybe if he was still a part of that.
You need to
Kevin
just
Kelly.
do you need to get all the in your house stuff that you possibly can in there. I want to see cheesy, you know, the logo intros where the house is trying to get in your house, which the logo never seemed to figure out how to do. I love this. This made me so happy. Like I stopped watching AEW for a full 10 minutes because NXT announced they were going to do In Your House, and it's just a name. It's so stupid because it's just a name, but I love it.
What's in a name? But at the same time, it's just like, oh, you remember, like that kind of thing. You didn't lose track of this entirely. And I plan on writing up a couple things about In Your House at some point over the next couple of weeks. I wanted to do it already, but it got pushed back.
I plan
Uh,
on helping you.
I am hoping to write up this thing that I had written a couple notes about already. Again, I said it got pushed back, so a couple weeks from now, there's going to be something on Bleacher Report about looking back on the history and the legacy of In Your House for things like the idea of, hey, first ever Judgment Day was In Your House, and the
Technically.
idea of the two, not two, um, once a month type of pay per view, and you don't just do the big four. It started within your house, like so. There's a lot going on within your house, despite the fact that it was cheesy and all that.
So I'll help you out right now. They are making history with this because in spite of all of the in your houses that they've done, this will be the first in your house event held in June because as you know, June always belonged to the King of the Ring.
And this might be the biggest amount of time between pay-per-views coming back. I don't know for sure, but this might be because it's been a long, long, long time since they did it in your house.
So if you go by the network clarifications, the last in your house that they have in their section is the December 97 Degeneration X pay-per-view. The last official in your house, believe it or not, was Backlash 99.
Hmm.
And that would put this at 21 years.
I can't think of another pay-per-view that's taken that long to come back.
Um yeah, because like Vengeance was gone for maybe 5 years and they brought it back and then they removed it again. Backlash was gone for I think 6 years before they brought it back. They've never had this big gap.
I mean, the
And it
only pay-per-views that are older than that to begin
are the
with
big four.
are the big four, and they never got rid of them. So the King of the Ring, they did King of the Ring after In Your House, still, right?
Yeah, even if they brought it back now, it would still be
All right. So bring back the oldest concept that they pretty much could, except for maybe if you count like Saturday night's main event or something like that, maybe.
unless like if they woke up tomorrow and were like, we're bringing back the Wrestle Classic pay per
Yeah.
view. They've done since '85.
So that's cool. Big fan of that.
What do you want to see main event this thing?
I don't know. See, I think that well, I'll toss these out there. These are my predictions for potential matches. Let me open up my page. I don't think we're getting Adam Cole versus anybody. If we
Would-
do, it's Velveteen Dream, but they already had their match. I don't think it's going to be Dexter Loomis, and then there's no other number one contender. So
I I want to see, like, let's go full throttle on the nostalgia here. Sean Waltman can still go.
have him
Shave him
against
up,
Mark Merrow or something.
shave him up, call him the 1, 2, 3 kid, and put him in the ring with Adam Cole.
That'd be cool.
I'd be perfectly fine with that.
I think we're getting Keith Lee against Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship, with or without Candice LeRae and Mia Yim. Maybe it's a mixed tag. Maybe it's Candice LeRae and Mia Yim have a match on this card too. Maybe they do that on the NXT episodes and do the mixed tag, and then it's Lee versus Gargano on
Maybe
the
they
pay per
do it in
view.
their house because they've been spending a lot of time in the
Yeah, that's
Gargano's
true. Eating
house.
dinner. I think we're getting Charlotte versus Rhea, possibly also against Shirai, and I think that Io might be in the match just to take the loss to keep the title on Charlotte longer.
Fair.
I don't like that idea. I'd rather just go back to Rhea Ripley, but
It might. You never know.
I don't think that we're getting Imperium defending the tag titles because I don't think that we have any babyface tag teams at all.
That can't be true.
The only one I can think of is Birch and Lorcan. So that doesn't
Wow.
seem like that would really take
What happened
priority.
there?
There's just like no babyface teams. If there is, I mean, it's like look, Breezango, Fandango's out. Indu Share, they're heels. Forgotten Sons are heels and they're on SmackDown. Can't think of anybody
Wow.
else.
We'll get the team of Loomis and Dream.
Maybe. I think we're getting Balor Priest.
Yeah,
I think we're getting Karrion Cross against Tommaso Ciampa.
for sure.
I think that that's going to be the main event.
I can't see them not doing an Adam Cole match.
And I think we're going to get the finals of the Cruiserweight tournament.
Oh yeah,
So that should be either Kushida, Jake Atlas, or Drake Maverick. Hopefully, Drake Maverick against Tozawa or Phantasma. I'm assuming Phantasma against Kushida, but we'll see. So that's the NXT side of things, but we still have SmackDown to talk about. Miz TV started the show with Otis as his guest, or as their guest, because John Morrison was there too. And they talked about how the Money in the Bank briefcase is pretty much a lunchbox for him. He's got a bratwurst inside. And Miz was so upset about the state of being Mr. Money in the Bank compared to when he was Mr. Money in the Bank that he wanted them to be in a tag team match, and Tucker's not there because Tucker got gangrene
fire.
from playing
Like
Oregon Trail. So
what?
yeah, I think that's what he had said. You ever play that game?
Yeah. Okay, that I missed. For context, my internet went out after Otis said, "I have a learning disability, so school is hard for me."
Okay, so you missed like quite a bit of that.
And wow, Otis Tucker is being written out by saying he's got gangrene from
Gangrene, or
playing
it was something like that. I don't remember for sure. It's one of the scurvy,
maybe
maybe.
maybe carpal tunnel. Like
Because it was in that game. It used to be like, hey, you died because of such and such,
oh,
and you
I
got
got okay. So they're saying like it's a joke that he'd gotten sick from playing within the game, and that's a very, very, very old text-based simulator, guys. That's amazing. Five
yeah.
star, 5 star reference.
Let me double check to see if it was one thing or the other. I know it's one of those things, but it was like one of these games that I played a lot when I was in school because we had the option of doing that in like the library. So, uh, oh, it might have been dysentery. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, the whole point of that was to lead to a tag team match for later on, where it ended up being Braun Strowman and Otis beating The Miz and John Morrison, and Otis teased to cash in, but didn't plan it out. He didn't actually cash in or anything like that. So it's just them playing around a little bit. Um, we got two Intercontinental Championship tournament matches. I'll talk about that in a second. Dana Brooke beat Naomi, and that was just sort of a
Naomi
thing.
was pissed. Naomi's turning heel.
And we had a Charlotte Flair promo with Bailey and Sasha Banks, where she basically said Sasha Banks is second fiddle to Bailey. Bailey said, "F you, I'm the champion." And then next week they're gonna have Bailey versus Flair, which is like, yay, who cares? Um,
What about this didn't you like?
I didn't like anything. I didn't care. I didn't care what they were setting up. I don't want to see any more dragging this out. I don't care to see Charlotte in a semi babyface role when she's clearly a heel. I don't know why they're putting her out there as like this end all be all of ratings when it's not going to make a difference. I like Charlotte in a lot of ways, but I couldn't care less about this.
I liked the segment because it highlighted the fact that she might not be bringing in numbers, but Charlotte Flair is a fucking star and she just carries herself with such poise. And maybe because we just had a conversation about this in the Triple Threat chat today, but it seems like a long time since they've actually touched on Charlotte versus Sasha, which I know in 2015 or was it 2016? What year was it? It was 16. Okay, they did it to death, but that was 4 years ago, and I liked seeing them interact again. And now they're making it so clear that Bailey is just like not even letting Sasha breathe because she doesn't want to potentially see the relationship split. So it's clear to me that Sasha's taking that title off of Bailey, and I no longer feel like it's a bait and switch.
Well, I mean, they teased us for like 2 years, so when the hell is that
Yeah,
going to
but
happen?
not with this layer of like,
They had them beat the crap out of each other.
yeah, but it wasn't to the effect of, yeah, Bailey's just being an absolute bitch here. Like she needs somebody to put her in her place. That before it was like, I don't know, I want to be friends with you, but God, I'm mad that we're not in bigger places on the card or whatever that was. This is just like, yeah, Bailey's being an absolute bitch. Sasha's gonna eventually rise up and get her and win the SmackDown title.
I'm still not all that into it. But we did to have our final hot tag here, and I think in all of it, yeah, we talked about it pretty much everything else, right? Yeah, we did. Is some updates on the Intercontinental Championship tournament. They referred to it as being held in abeyance. Figured they might use that term. It's not an interim thing for sure. They mentioned a couple times Sami Zayn's not able to compete, and show up and make appearances and all that. So we have our bracket. We actually have two for the match. It's already done. Daniel Bryan beat Drew Gulak by submission, and Elias beat King Corbin by pinfall. So the two winners of that, Bryan and Elias, will face the winners of next week's matches, which are Jeff Hardy against Sheamus. They're already doing that, which is kind of odd.
I'm okay with it.
And Shinsuke Nakamura against AJ Styles, which I thought was interesting.
So I'm looking at this match strictly as redemption. They need to have a good match. They need to have a really, really good match. And it can be done because Bryan and Gulak today had a phenomenal match. And I'm looking forward to watching AJ Styles win the tournament and go back to SmackDown.
Well, to steal your line, here's the thing. We know it's going to be Bryan against either Hardy or Sheamus next, and then it's going to be Elias against Styles or Nakamura. Let's be blunt about it. It's going to be Elias versus Styles. And given the option of Elias versus AJ Styles, I highly doubt Elias is going to beat Styles. So it seems Styles is going to be wrestling at maybe the pay per view backlash, maybe on SmackDown anyway, against either Jeff Hardy or Daniel Bryan.
It's got to be Daniel Bryan.
It's going to be Daniel Bryan. So we're going to get Bryan versus Styles, which is going to be potentially great. And we've seen him before, so it's not something that's like brand new, but it's Bryan and Styles. Like, cool. I'm surprised they didn't go with Gulak against Styles in round 1, Bryan against Nakamura in round 1, and kind of go around like in that fashion.
Well, I don't know. I think they just wanted to get the Brian Gulak match out of the way. I think they want to get. They're touching on matches that they just want to do. So, like, instead of having the tournament build up to one match that they've been working towards, they're just having this tournament have all the matches that they were going to do anyway, and then leading to what I hope is a good final.
The Hardy and Sheamus thing I find interesting because here's what I hope they don't do. Hardy and Sheamus have their match. Sheamus wins, just outright wins. The week after that, it's Bryan versus Sheamus. Hardy does something to interfere, costs Sheamus the match. Bryan wins.
Only if Brian wins in 18 seconds is that okay?
Then that would be okay. But then I hope that they don't go, well, it's going to be Hardy versus Sheamus in a regular match at Backlash. Because then it'll be like, all right, well, we just saw that on SmackDown. We don't need to see it again. Then it needs to be something different. And the idea of just, it's a rematch doesn't do anything for me. But if they did something like Sheamus attacked Hardy before their match and they don't really get to have a match, Hardy's just sort of beaten down. Sheamus plays around with him a little bit. Brogue kicks him at the end. And it's not a real match. Then they can go in that direction and I'm okay with it. But I'm assuming that we're getting Hardy versus Sheamus at Backlash no matter what. And Bryan's just going to win that side. Styles is going to win the right side. And we're getting Bryan Styles, which it's kind of interesting that Cesaro's not in this too.
Yeah, that's a little surprising.
But they must just wanted Bryan and Styles.
Yeah, maybe Cesaro didn't want to be in this. Maybe he's
Maybe.
like, yeah, you know the deal. I'm gonna lose.
Yeah. Maybe they just went with like, well, we could do Styles against Cesaro or Styles against Nakamura. Let's go with Nakamura. Could have been that. But I don't want Elias versus Corbin in another match. They might still do that. Um, I don't think Elias has much of a chance to beat AJ Styles, but I do think that Bryan can beat Styles. It's got to be one of those two as the next champion, though.
The only thing that makes me think it might be Brian is that Brian cut the promo tonight saying, I want to defend it every week against whoever wants it so I can make this the best title. And I was a big fan of the John Cena Open Challenge. So if Brian wants to do that with the IC belt, by all means.
Yeah, I hope that that's the case. And the Styles thing, maybe it's just to get people talking about the Intercontinental title tournament. If he doesn't have anything to do right now, you
They
do that, you make him have that whole situation, and he loses against Bryan, and then they move on, and Styles gets a new feud with somebody else.
they really elaborated on the whole Styles has never been IC champion. He wants the one belt that's eluded him. Either way, I'm liking the tournament so far. Brian and Gulak, I would say go out of your way to watch it. It was really, really good.
Yeah, I I endorse this direction at the very least.
Hey, look at
And
that. We're happy about something.
yeah, say good things happen, then they're good. If bad things happen, they suck. That's how things
Yeah,
work in life.
that's how life works.
Well, I'm also happy that there's not more bad news to talk about on the hot tags like the arrest and the heat and all that stuff. I'm glad that there's no like, another mass round of releases or anything. We did it seems Rachel Ellering might have gotten fired or released or whatever, but that's one person compared to Black Wednesday where it was like, 20 something people or 50,000 people it seemed. Um so yeah, that's hot tags.
All right.
And we didn't go completely nuts.
That's swell. Tune in next week when we give you the full rundown of Hobo Championship Wrestling.
It might be a thing. I don't know. As I said before, drop your comments below. Tell us your thoughts on these things we talked about here. If you want to show more support for us in any fashion, whatever it is, whether it's on the Smark Moment side of things or fanboysanonymous.com, which is the geek culture website that talks about movie reviews and any other kind of topics like that, then head on over there, do the same things that you would do for this, just the like button, the favorites, the follows, the comments, the blah blah blahs. You know how all that stuff works by now. You're one of those kids with their things and their YouTubes and their computers and musics. And follow this on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. And keep checking the website for more different things, whether it's the weeklies or just whatever else might pop up in there. You never know when something's going to happen. I might actually do a fantasy booking of SummerSlam soon. So if that happens, then that'll be up on the website too. And most of my plugs are out of the way, but Rob's got some. So I'm going to head that over to Rob. Here's the baton.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DudeFelice. Check out Fightful and check out WrestleZone.com. That's it.
All right. Well, that's going to do us in here. Thank you for listening to this, everybody. We will see you next week with another edition of the Hot Tags, as well as the Double or Nothing pay-per-view predictions. And then on that Saturday of the pay-per-view, the Double or Nothing pay-per-view post-show, because that's what the whole point of that is. It's post-show. So stay tuned for that, and any updates that go along with that you'll find on the predictions page on smarkoutmoment.com. Plenty of different articles coming up over the next couple of days on eWrestling News and Bleacher Report, and whatever else is happening you'll find out just by checking out all the things under a mango tree. But that's it for 441. Again, as I said, thank you for listening, thank you for all your support. We will see you next time. For now, this is another Smark Out moment, and we're being counted out.